I wanted to talk a little bit today about the drum as a tool for healing. This is something that I offer in my practice, and I also offer monthly drum circles. And a lot of people don't actually know this, but the drum has been a part of the human story for a very, very long time. If you look across cultures and across continents and across time, the drum has always played a significant role in things like healing, ceremony, ritual, transformation. So, one of the reasons that it's been used as frequently as it has been is that it actually allows us to alter our state of consciousness so that we're able to access aspects of our inner world that may be inaccessible to us in our waking state. So, just to give an example of how this might be useful clinically, I'll use my own example. So, knee pain. What happens when you've ruled everything out physically? It's not a strain, it's not a sprain, it's not an injury, it's not any kind of anatomical or physical issue. It's not an inflammation because everything is normal. So, from a physical perspective, things look normal, and yet the pain persists. So, I think sometimes going deeper into the pain experience on a mental, emotional, spiritual level is incredibly important for understanding what the body is actually trying to say to us through this pain. One of the things that I fundamentally believe and is actually talked about quite a bit now is just that the body really holds on to our experiences. And if we have a trauma or a pain or, some kind of suffering that we're not necessarily able to deal with because we don't have the resources or we're too young to understand or, whatever it may be, for some reason we're not able to process it and to let it go and move on, the body holds on to that. It really, truly holds on to that pain. And I think sometimes that's why pain is such a difficult thing to treat clinically, because there are so many reasons for it that fall outside of the physical understanding of what's causing that. So the drum really allows us to gain access to our inner world that has more answers for us than we've been able to gather in relation to our pain. So leading up to a drum session or a drum circle, what I tell people is please come up with a clear intention for the work. Why are you coming to the drum? What are you trying to gain? Why are you here? And it could be something as simple as show me this pain clearly. One of the things that I find, and I'm actually guilty of this too sometimes, is that we can be very, very disconnected from our own bodies. One of the, I'm sure, questions that my patients hate is, can you describe the pain? What kind of pain is it? And the answer that I get most commonly is, it's just pain. But the reality is there are so many different types of pain, right? It can be aching, it can be piercing, it can be sharp, it can be excruciating. I mean, there are so many different ways to describe pain. When does it come on? What makes it better? What makes it worse? We really want to get a very clear understanding of what this pain is. When does it show up? What is it sensitive to? And so having a very clear intention coming into the drum session is very, very important for the work. The other thing that I tell people is that once the drumming starts, just really become aware of everything that's coming up for you. So what emotions are you experiencing, if any? Are there any sounds that come to you? Are there any images? Any sensations? A very interesting thing about drum work is that it's very common actually for people to report feeling presences in the room. People say that they hear singing. People say that they feel energies, they see animals. There's all this information that's coming in that can't really be explained because I'm literally there drumming and there's nothing else in the room. So, I think that it just goes to show you that there's so much more that we have access to when we access it in the right way. And And then, following the session, what I encourage people to do is just share their experience. So, what did you see? What did you feel? What came up for you? And I think that this is actually where a lot of the insights come, because sometimes people have experiences during a drum session that they can't quite relate to their original intention. And that's okay. I think that it's a very common experience. And when we sort of talk about it and when we unpack that a little bit, it does become a little bit more clear how this relates. And then the other thing that I say is, in the days following, just tune into your dreams, because what I find is that the drum session itself shifts things, and then, more information might come in the following days, whether it comes through as an intuition or it comes through as a dream. It doesn't matter. The important thing is just to become aware of all of those things. And yeah, I find that it's almost like homeopathy in a way. Like when I give a patient a remedy, usually what I ask them to do is just really tune into a lot of different things, but the dream world is one of them, because all of this stuff gives us information. And when it's coming from an unconscious place, in a way it's a little bit more valuable because there's nothing obstructing it. There's no interference. It's just coming from a deeper aspect of who you are. So it's a very, very important thing to pay attention to. And then the last thing is, just in the days leading up to, I ask people to really just try to take some time every day to become quiet. I find we live in a culture that's very hyper and loud and, just always on overdrive. And this work is best when you're kind of in a calmer state, when you're in a state that's a little bit contemplative or meditative. So, just taking some time every day in the couple of days leading up to it usually goes a really long way. So, if this is the kind of work that appeals to you, then I invite you to come to any of my monthly drum circles. And I also do this stuff privately. So, if you want a private drum session, I'm absolutely open to that as well. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you there.